Glaciers are massive blocks of moving ice that arise as snow accumulated in cold places compacts and recrystallizes. In total, glaciers cover 10% of the Earth's surface. Pink watermelon snow is threatening major Italian glacier. The pink hue comes from algae growing on the ice. Though the algae doesn't damage the glacier directly, it makes the normally white surface darker, allowing it to absorb more light from the sun. That absorbed light heats the glacier, speeding up its rate of melt. The microscopic plant species Chlamydomonas nivalis likely caused the sudden pink hue. Glacier-eating algae could be seen more frequently as global temperatures rise. The algae growth is due to low snowfall and high temperatures in the area. When the ice melts, it provides water and oxygen to feed more algae, and the cycle accelerates. If the algae feed for long enough, the glacier could disappear. Algal blooms on glaciers are regular seasonal occurrences. One species frequently turns Antarctic snow green. But as global temperatures rise, these algae could flourish more than usual and further accelerate ice melt. Glaciers in Greenland and Antarctica are losing ice at alarming rates, and warmer air isn't the only cause. Rather, complex systems involving winds and ocean circulation patterns are helping to drive naturally occurring warm water closer to the ice edge. Glacier retreat in Antarctica is largely being driven by warm water seeping underneath the ice. As the ice melts, the point where it attaches to the bedrock at the bottom of the ocean, commonly known as the grounding line, recedes inland, which can cause the glaciers to become less stable and lose more ice over time. A large amount of the warm water affecting the Antarctic ice sheet belongs to a naturally occurring warm mass known as circumpolar deep water. Originally formed from the mixing of waters originating in other, warmer parts of the globe, circumpolar deep water is now a fixture in the Southern Ocean. This water mass is very salty and dense, causing it to sink beneath the colder, less dense water closer to the surface of the Southern Ocean. It's this circumpolar deep water that's believed to be driving glacier melt around the continent. Changes in wind patterns around Antarctica can alter the ocean currents driving the movement of this warm water, sometimes causing more of it to well up around the ice sheet than is usual. Winds driving certain major ocean currents circulating around Antarctica will become more intense as the climate warms, pushing these currents farther south. If this happens, these currents may help to drive cold water away from the pole and warm water closer to the ice sheet. The Arctic ice is highly sensitive to changes in air and ocean temperature. Over the last few decades, the Arctic ice has been shrinking at a rate of 9% per year. Glacial melting will cause the extinction of numerous species, as glaciers are the natural habitat of a number of animals, both terrestrial and aquatic. The disappearance of glaciers also means less water for consumption by the population, a lower hydroelectric energy generation capacity, and less water available for irrigation. Polar bears depend on sea ice to travel and hunt. As sea ice decreases, many will be forced to travel further for food and spend more time on land. Less access to food will affect survival, particularly of cubs and young bears, and longer periods fasting on land will increase the likelihood of encounters with people. Narwhals are totally adapted to living amongst thick sea ice. They evolved without a dorsal fin, allowing them to travel closely under ice to escape faster predators. With sea ice melting earlier, predators like orcas can potentially access new areas. Saimaa ringed seals are dependent on the lake's ice and snowy surface in winter when it's time to give birth and raise the pups. Over the past several years, the snow cover on the lake hasn't been deep enough for seals to build the birthing dens, posing a huge risk to their future. Some animals that are affected by climate change are musk dogs, as they are finding it harder to find food as the climate changes. They use the noses and legs to dig through the snow to reach food. But with warmer temperatures, rain is falling then freezing into a hard layer of ice which is difficult to break through. More rain may also mean that calves are getting too cold and freezing to death, as the coats aren't able to protect them from vast amounts of rain. Many walruses use the sea ice as a platform for resting, and a place to leave young calves while they're diving for food. But loss of the sea ice habitat is forcing larger numbers ashore. On land, they're highly susceptible to disturbance from predators such as polar bears. Some things you could do to reduce the rate of glacial melting are: 1. Reduce, reuse, recycle, reduce garbage by choosing reusable products. If it is something that can't be reused, try to purchase products with minimum packaging. Recycle paper, plastic, glass, newspaper, and aluminum. 2. Walk more. 3. Plant a tree. Plants absorb CO2 and produce oxygen. planting a tree can help balance the increases of CO2. 4. Eat green. Transportation is a major contributor of greenhouse gases. Eat locally grown food to reduce transportation emissions. 5. Save electricity. Turn off electrical devices when not in use. 6. Inform others, inform family, friends, and colleagues about how they can reduce the carbon footprint.